Monica Crowley is an incomparable Fox News analyst, and Gavin McInnes is a contributor to Tacky Mag, among many, many other things. Now, Gavin, you wrote a great article suggesting a few laws for former Mayor Bloomberg here in New York City that he could enact, from banning fancy drinks in the city and flip-flops for men to criminalizing flatulence. How would Gavin the Great rule the world? Because this is something that, of all the people who've been on the show today, I think you might have spent more time thinking about what the world would be like if you were in charge. I actually spent, you know, they say the Beatles spent 10,000 hours and that's how they got good. I have spent 10,000 hours thinking about this. And you have to start with the caveat that you can't get rid of these bureaucrats. There's always going to be these pencil pushers who need to enforce rules. So forget about, oh, I just want the army and the police and everything else is privatized. No. So we have enforcers. Let's get them off of things like vaporizing cigarettes and the size of soft drinks, and get stuff that affects us. Like when someone farts in a train, it goes into your body. They're invading, they're putting waste in your body. They're not only particles, they're farticles, aren't they? They're farticles. They're defecating into your head. Yeah. That's illegal. Same with. And would you criminalize that as the leader of the? That's a felony. Okay. That's a felony. And we saw this with Giuliani. You get tough on turnstile jumpers, and the whole city cleans up. Yeah. And I read about an African despot who forces people who wear flip-flops to eat them at gunpoint. I don't know that that's true. Well, I definitely remember reading that, so I think that's evidence. We bring that in. Yeah. Eat it up, buddy. Say, if your dog, you leave dog feces on the street, you gobble it up. Flip-flops in public, flip-flops in private. I need to know what I can do. I know you have a within a 500-yard radius of your. Oh, I'm not going to kick down front doors. Okay. Looking for flip-flops. This affects me personally. Go on. But you know what? While we're on the subject, and while we have a police force, shower shoes. What are the kids today with the little sockets and the shower shoes with the band on the top? Is it fashion laziness, or is it just unhygienic? I think it's marijuana. I think it's too much pot. Would you ban pot? They just go, oh, laces. No, I would not ban pot. I need that for my jokes. I can't affect my own personal life. No. But the word instead of a felony, what about just a little red light? That's voice recognition light that everyone has to wear. And when you say, I was like freaking out because they were like, they weren't like mad, but I was still like, and they just go, Jesus, there's a lot of red lights going on here. I must be. And after 5 blinking of the red lights, then you start getting to light electrical shocks. Well, there would be a needle, an intravenous thing that secretes cancer into your blood. Okay. After maybe 300 lights. Well, the good thing is, I mean, as a supreme universal leader, you are quite reasonable. Yeah, I'm like Idi Amin without the cannibalism. That's good. Well, just barely. And Monica, you've heard some of Gavin's talking points. You've seen his vision of the future. Yes. And maybe you've spent some time here in the Fox Pantheon thinking about, you know, what if a woman with a softer touch and a big brain were in charge of the world? What would you do? Here's what I would do. If I could suspend the laws of gravity and just have an ideal canvas with which to work, first of all, everybody would get free chocolate, because I think that would put everybody in a better mood, right? You can get a little caffeine buzz, so everybody would be happy. Then, and by the way, she's absolutely right, because I'm gonna drop a little science on Camille. Pardon me for the interruption. Tell me. Science tells us that when pregnant women eat chocolate, their babies come out smarter and happier. Wow. See? So now you have to learn to like chocolate. Especially in Monica's universe, you're going to have to learn to like it. Okay, on a more serious note, in Monica's universe, wealth and achievement would be celebrated instead of demonized. The press would be honest and fair. Honesty, hard work, and integrity would be rewarded instead of dissed, because we know life isn't fair, but in my universe, life would be fair. The free market would rule. No government intervention into any sector of the economy. Would there be a government in your... This sounds a lot like 1950. Yes, it would be. Well, those were you're going to pick a fight about, you know, Donna Reed's generation. I think that was pretty good with some exceptions. Yeah, with some exception. Punishments would fit the crime, which dovetails with your, you know, ban on flip-flops. I think punishment would fit the crime. School choice in every district, so that every child could get a decent education and parents could have their kids going to quality schools. Would you have public schools? Yes, I would, but I would also have the option of school choice and not have leftist politicians try to, you know, because of their relationship with unions, try to prevent kids, especially disadvantaged kids, from getting a quality education. So would you keep unions out of teaching? I would ban unions, government sector unions, not private sector unions. Government sector unions would be gone. I would also ban Miley Cyrus and Justin Bieber, just because. What about
because we try to elevate the.
What about joining them surgically?
I'm for Lindsay Lohan, just not
market in pop music.
Yeah.
That's pretty frightening stuff.
I ban that, but I'm for Lindsay Lohan. So you have to have a little spice in your culture.
I actually think Miley's more talented. I'm going to go on a limb here.
She is. But to answer your question, Kennedy, there would be a government, but it would be a very limited government, the way the founding fathers envisioned.
Okay.
We paid down the debt. We wouldn't spend more than we took in.
Okay.
And, just a happy warrior kind of culture.
So Gavin, you've got a question for Monica. Go ahead.
No, it's not a question. I just want to say something.
Where's Gavin? You've got a red and white striped shirt. So
have you noticed that the libertarian values seem to be predicated on liking people and thinking they're inherently good people, whereas the big government values seem predicated on having to control these beasts, these animals, and prevent them from destroying their own environment.
They can't be trusted. They need to be given birth control so they don't breed.
Jumping off the fire escapes with pot.
And there's a right-wing version of it and a left-wing version of it. That usually, the left wing is more that the poor people aren't smart enough. They haven't been given the resources enough to make the kind of choices that
But that's
we would like.
also indicative of we're putting them there, and they're saying, "I'd like to study law." No.
But part of that is also, the libertarian worldview also acknowledges the fact that anyone is corruptible, and given sufficient power and control, you can actually do really, really bad things to one another. So it's not just that I think people are good and that they will generally pursue their own best interests. It's that I know people have the capacity to abuse power and do pretty nasty things.
You bring up
when they think they know what's best.
And Camille, you bring up a really good point, because that's almost a thrust of the show. Because if everyone had the ability to be in power, to be the authoritarian, I think they would take up the challenge. No matter what they say, I think most people would apply and project their worldview, their values onto the rest of us.
You see it in the U.S. government, right? A lot of Tea Party folks got elected, they got to Washington, and then suddenly they got sucked into the Bermuda Triangle of power and lobbyists and so on. I just reread 1984 to jog my memory about what Orwell was saying, and it's the exact same thing. The end of the novel is that the animals and the farmers have become one, and the animals who still believed in the utopia couldn't distinguish which was which. So I think that is a fantastic point.
Yeah, I guess the problem is the big government
Animal
thing.
Farm,
that is Animal
I just reread 1984
but both of them
Remember,
are wonderful
the
classics.
dogs were dumb and they had no memories, and the pigs were the smartest and actually the most evil. So it's an indictment of intellectualism, Gavin.
But Camille's right in that people are corruptible, but they become more corrupt when they have power. And what libertarians are saying, at least let's let this individual become a complete mess on his own. And we saw that, like, Gaddafi was an awesome guy when he first started. And then he became the most sadistic person in history, almost. Or even after the Iranian Revolution, when they had those religious clerics holding the place for the government, they were pretty good for the first month or so. Then, with their blind power, we started getting rules about Sharia law.
Well, Robespierre was all about liberty when he first started.
I wouldn't be surprised if Stalin was a cool guy.
Well, you would know. You look so much like him.
So much.
Total compliment. Total compliment. A lot of communists still on the Stalin train. All right. Well, thank you very much, Monica and Gavin.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Way to start the show. All right. Well, by the way, you can get in on the discussion, rate our guests, and please tell us how you would run things. Anthony Weiner is roaming the halls. He's got some plans for power when he returns to power. And Geraldo is next. He has covered war, corruption,